entirely in this black hole of self-absorption, which I think the Madoffs and the Dryers are. And Bud, I want you to know, I don't think you're one of those.
Well, thank you. Well, just this one story about some of the gentlemen that I met in prison. Several were put in there for making moonshine. And they were discovered, they'd set up a still in one of the farm barns there in the prison. Because, you know, they're artists. And I asked one of them, I said, well, have you learned anything through this prison experience? And he was from West Virginia, had a great draw. And he said, well, I've learned to make my stuff further back in the woods and step a little livelier when they're coming after me. So it wasn't a rehab that he was really there for at the time.
No.
And I guess through all of this, the one thing that I keep being drawn back to is this idea of language, and all of you touched on it in one way or another. It isn't about a victim, it's a collateral damage. It shifts from an ethical dilemma to pragmatic steps. And our profession is literally to play with those words and to characterize them in the right way. And it seems dangerously close. I mean, I take your advice to heart that, you know, we're not going to be narcissists if we're even wondering this, but at the same time, I wonder, and I wonder if that has any resonance, this common theme for anyone else of language, of the fact that you know, the people are fictions, that for example, you know, how much is it going to cost?
Let me give an example. Let's say you write a memorandum to a senior White House aide, and you say, we recommend that a covert operation be undertaken to examine all of the files still held by Dr. Ellsberg's psychiatrist. And you use covert operation because it's sort of a fuzzy word. It doesn't really say exactly what you have in mind, and you're sort of communicating in mirrors. And you get approval, and it comes back. And I thought later, after that was the way that operation was set up in 1971, we used that term. Now, what if we had said, we recommend that a second-degree burglary under the laws of the state of California be undertaken to examine all of the files still held, you know, punishable by 5 years in prison, you know, a $5,000 fine, or both.
Right.
Now, that's the accurate language of what you're planning to do. But you use language that camouflages it, so you don't have to look directly at it. That was written by a lawyer and signed by a lawyer.
Right. Yeah. And it's one of the things that, I mean, you mentioned it, if you would have had the wherewithal to check with the code, you might not have done the things that you've done. But I wonder if the cold, hard language of the ethical rules provide guidance in the situations where you're wondering how much it costs and what to call it.
I don't know whether the rules per se, but the rules are pretty clear that you ought not to commit a felony. I mean, that's right in there. You know, it's
well, there's that word.
Yeah, there it is.
It doesn't say covert operation,
No,
it says felony.
It says felony, that's right. Well, they didn't say the right word. I would have not done it if they'd said no covert operation.